For centuries, a powerful myth has shaped our understanding of the ancient world, the belief that a single catastrophic fire reduced the Library of Alexandria to ashes in one tragic night. But the truth is far more intricate, and far more revealing. The greatest library of antiquity did not fall to one villain or one moment of violence. Instead, it endured centuries of political upheaval, war, neglect, and cultural change before finally disappearing from history. In this documentary, we uncover the real story behind Alexandria's legendary library, separating dramatic legend from documented fact to reveal how knowledge is truly lost. The Library of Alexandria began as an ambitious vision under the early Ptolemaic kings of Egypt in the 3rd century BCE. More than a building, it was part of the Mausoleum, the museum, a vast scholarly complex dedicated to research, discovery, and the pursuit of knowledge. Here, some of the greatest minds of the ancient world gathered: mathematicians, poets, astronomers, philosophers, physicians, and translators. Figures like Eratosthenes, who calculated Earth's circumference, and Euclid, the father of geometry, studied and taught within its walls. The library's collection was unmatched in scale and ambition. Ancient accounts suggest it housed hundreds of thousands of papyrus scrolls, acquired through aggressive collecting policies. Ships arriving at the port of Alexandria were searched, and any books found were copied. The originals were kept for the library, while duplicates were returned to the owners. This practice helped the library become the beating heart of knowledge in the Mediterranean world. But beyond its vast collection, the Library of Alexandria symbolized something greater: humanity's desire to gather, protect, and expand intellectual heritage. It represented a golden age of scholarship, where ideas flowed freely across cultures. Understanding its origins is essential to understanding why its loss, slow, fragmented, and misunderstood, became one of history's most enduring tragedies. One of the biggest misconceptions about the Library of Alexandria is that it vanished in a single dramatic blaze. In reality, historians now believe its destruction happened gradually, over the span of several centuries. The first major blow likely came in 48 BCE when Julius Caesar set fire to ships in Alexandria's harbor, and the flames spread to nearby warehouses that stored scrolls. While this event damaged parts of the library's collection, it didn't end its existence. The library continued to function, though weakened. Later, during conflicts under Emperor Aurelian in the 3rd century CE, Alexandria's royal district, the area where the library and its daughter library, the Serapeum, stood, became a war zone. The fighting likely caused significant additional destruction. But again, the institution wasn't erased overnight. The real turning point came with the destruction of the Serapeum in 391 CE, during clashes between pagans and Christians under the orders of Emperor Theodosius. By then, the Library of Alexandria, once the beating heart of ancient knowledge, was already a shadow of its former self. No single moment erased it; instead, it slowly withered through political upheaval, religious conflict, and urban decline. The Serapeum is often remembered as the second Library of Alexandria, but in many ways, it became the symbolic final custodian of the city's intellectual heritage. Built as a grand temple to Serapis, it also housed a significant collection of scrolls that had been relocated from the main library. By the 4th century CE, this daughter library was likely the last surviving fragment of the great institution. Its destruction in 391 CE marked a crucial turning point. Ordered during the reign of Emperor Theodosius I, who sought to suppress pagan worship, the Serapeum became a direct target in the escalating conflict between Christians and Alexandria's pagan community. When rioting broke out, the temple was stormed, its statues toppled, and its structures dismantled. While historians disagree on whether many scrolls still remained inside by this time, the event symbolized the end of an era. The fall of the Serapeum wasn't just the loss of a building, it represented the final unraveling of a centuries-old pursuit of knowledge. Even if the library's physical collection had already diminished, the destruction of its last sanctuary marked the moment when the intellectual spirit of the ancient world truly faded from Alexandria's streets. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria was not a single cataclysmic event, but a long decline shaped by shifting empires, political instability, and the brutal realities of war. After the Ptolemaic era ended, Alexandria became a battleground for Roman power struggles. Civil wars, street violence, and ideological conflict slowly chipped away at the institutions that had once made the city the intellectual heart of the Mediterranean. One of the most damaging blows likely occurred during Julius Caesar's Alexandrian War in 48 BCE. Ancient sources, including Plutarch, describe how a fire from the harbor, set during the fighting, spread to nearby buildings. While scholars debate the extent of the damage, many believe that warehouses storing scrolls destined for the library were destroyed. Even if the main building survived, this event severely depleted the library's vast collection. Under Roman rule, priorities shifted. Funding for scholarly activity dwindled, and political tensions between Roman authorities and Alexandrian citizens destabilized the city further. Later conflicts, including the violent tensions between pagans, Jews, and early Christians, created an atmosphere hostile to the open pursuit of knowledge. By the time the Serapeum fell in 391 CE, the damage had already been done. What remained of the library had been weakened by centuries of neglect, political upheaval, and repeated conflict. The story of its destruction, therefore, isn't one of a single tragedy, but of a slow, steady erosion and unraveling of intellectual life caused by the pressures of empire, ideology, and war. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria has long been wrapped in myth, stories of a single catastrophic fire, a villain responsible for its downfall, or a moment when human knowledge was instantly erased. In reality, the truth is far more complex. Much of what people believe today was shaped by later writers, political narratives, and the romantic imagination of historians who lived centuries after the library had vanished. No ancient account describes its destruction in detail, and surviving sources often conflict with one another. The idea that Julius Caesar burned the library oversimplifies a much more nuanced event. Later claims that Christian zealots or Muslim conquerors destroyed it in one decisive act are also rooted more in medieval legend or propaganda than evidence. Historians now agree the library declined in stages, suffering multiple blows over nearly 700 years. What we truly lost is more difficult to quantify. The library once housed hundreds of thousands of scrolls, works of mathematics, astronomy, medicine, poetry, history, and philosophy. Many Greek tragedies survived in only one copy, countless others disappeared entirely. The writings of brilliant thinkers, women like Hypatia, astronomers who calculated the size of the Earth, scientists who theorized about atoms, were scattered, forgotten, or destroyed. The true story of the Library of Alexandria isn't a tale of a single fire, it's a reminder of how easily knowledge can fade when politics, conflict, and neglect overshadow curiosity. What disappeared was not just a building filled with scrolls, but a culture dedicated to preserving and expanding human understanding. As we reflect on its long, complex decline, we're challenged to value the libraries, archives, and institutions that safeguard our history today. If you found this exploration meaningful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And let me know in the comments which ancient mystery you want uncovered next.